There are two important days in your life. One is the day you were born, and the other is the day you figure out why you are here. Somebody said it in the right way. You can't pour from an empty jar. If you really want to come out and help community, help people, you should have something in you. Successful international students, their growth mindset is different than those who are not. They are proactive instead of being reactive, and they concentrate on building relationship and networking, and they prioritize on their well-being. The common fear they have is, am I enough? Can I fit into this country? Do I belong here? Is it possible for me to go and compete? The day I landed here, right next day, one of my friends, he took me to the construction job. Job was to take out the nails from the wood.
For those students who are not confident, who are not able to come out of the shell or go and ask to someone, some people are in gray zone who wants to ask but they just cannot, right? What is your suggestion to those students?
Confidence is not a personality trait. It's a skill you build. If you have accent, if you fear of being judged by someone based on your English, you are not alone. It is not your weakness. It is your strength, and you speak multiple languages.
If we see top 50 billionaires or successful people, most of them are immigrant.
Talk to yourself once in a day, otherwise you may miss meeting an excellent person in this world.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Impact Diaries, where I bring various successful and professional people from all walks of life to learn from their journey of struggle to spark so we can impact our lives. Today we have a very powerful guest. He is highly sought out leader and marketing strategist, driving global recruitment in one of the best colleges in Sydney. He has traveled all around the world, spoken with thousands of students and professionals, and guided them to build a beautiful career and future in Australia. So in this episode, we are going to discuss about a journey, experiences, and lessons. Without further ado, please help me welcome Sagar Paudel on this show. Sagarji, welcome. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's great. How are you feeling?
Good, fantastic. It's wonderful to be here. And it's a really beautiful concept, because human transformation is a real thing, and this can help thousands of people transform their life. The work you are doing, it is truly amazing.
Thank you very much. I deeply appreciate that. So let's start with a bit of your background story so that my audience knows who they are listening to, right? Can you please tell us about where you're from and how did you come to Australia?
For those who never heard about me, my name is Sagar Paudel. I work as a marketing executive for Pacific College. It's been 7 years. I'm associated with Australian education industry. And outside of work, I'm deeply passionate about life exploration, spiritual seeking, meditation, yoga, and a lot of movements in life. What I advocate always is every single individual in this world, they have purpose in life. Somebody said, and I quote here, there are two important days in your life. One, the day you were born, and the other, you know why you are here.
Fantastic. So when did you come to Australia? What year was that?
It was 2017.
2017. Yeah. How did you feel after coming to Australia? That's a big change in terms of culture and environment, right?
It is a big shift. When I was here, very new, little nervous, little lost. I still remember the day coming out of that plane. I was just reading about this country. I was just looking videos, watching about how beautiful it is, Sydney. The day I landed, I still remember I was very nervous. And slowly, I started building relationship with people. That helped me a lot in terms of transition. Another issue I remember, I was comparing everything to back home when I was new to this country.
Right.
I recommend newcomers not to compare that much. I did that mistake. So transition is very difficult when you do that.
What happens when you compare?
So when I say compare, I mean new to this land, you meet new people. Let's say you go to shopping, you try to get into this community, but you remember everything back home. When you go and buy something in Woolies or Coles, you try to convert the currency. And then when you go and meet new people, you expect same from back home. So I recommend people to come out of that. It happens, it's natural. We all compare, but I was doing it for a pretty long time. I think that was something stopping me to transition well. Later on, I realized, and then, it was...
Absolutely. So if we compare, then we have a certain set of expectation we already, right? And then it will impact our growth in here because this is a new environment. We need to be open-minded, definitely. So you came in 2017, so you started studying in Australian Catholic University, right?
Right.
So how did that go for you?
Academically, I was a good student.
Even in Nepal?
Yes, even in Nepal. I happened to be a university topper for my BBA.
Fantastic. Which uni was that?
It was TID009 University, 2016 batch. And coming here to do my MBA with a scholarship was something I truly admire. I truly appreciate those donors and supporters who made this possible. And you asked me, how did I go with MBA? As I said earlier, initial days was not easy, like being away from your loved ones. You are here in this country trying to explore opportunities. You are away from your loved ones. That is something difficult in initial days. But I prioritize building relationship with people here, a real human connection. I made new friends. I traveled across the other continents when I was doing my MBA. So all these things really helped me to transition well.
That's great. And in terms of when you first came, what kind of job you had to do? How was that journey?
It's a really interesting story. I always love telling this story. The reason it grounds everything. The day I landed here, right next day, one of my friends, he took me to the construction job. So the job was to take out the nails from the wood. You know how the construction site just freshly finished the concrete structure, and then there are the wooden things. You have to remove it and then pile up in one place. So that was the job. One of my friends, he took me there. What I realized at that point of time, a busy Saturday morning, it was very hot day, and I was standing in front of that construction site. It reminded me whatever I did back home, whatever professional experience I carry, here in this country, journey of international student is not easy. That was a strong reminder for me. And how the workmates there, a lot of international students were there on that job site, how hard they are working to make their living. Dignity is real. So I felt that it was not a setback starting up from construction site, but it was kind of reminder for me, a reality check, how international students, they start here. I didn't stay in that job for a long time, but it was a good start. It was a reality check for me. And spark was there. I had a bit of experience in education training field back home. And I always...
What did you do?
Back home, I used to be a trainer. Training, not academic training. It was about personality development, soft skills development. While I was doing my BBA, I was studying my bachelor side by side. I was actively involved in mentoring year 12 students. I used to go around the different colleges. They used to give me space, time, and particular event, and I used to handle 1 to 2 hours, up to 3 hours of session, talking to those year 12 students, helping them understand who they are, and helping them to anchor themselves into why. So we all have purpose in our life. I was actively involved in that human transformation work back home. That really helped me to always stay with my why, because I'm always passionate about helping people in that regard. So that really helped me to come out of that job, get connected with other industry. But it start was from the construction site.
Fantastic. So you just pointed out that everybody has a purpose in life, right? Just want to know, when you're studying your BBA and at the same time you were mentoring so many other students and going to colleges and sharing your stories. So what inspired you to do that? Why would you want to help somebody?
Actually, I'm always moved by one famous saying. Somebody said it correctly. There are two important days in your life. One is the day you were born, and the other is the day you figured out why you are here. So I was always carrying that spark in me. We are here for some purpose. And then if we continuously work on multiple dimensions of our life, we are close to exploring why. It is ongoing journey. It is not end game, you just explore it and you are done. It is ongoing journey, but to be into this journey, you have to involve yourself in exploring those multiple dimensions of your life. It could be your spirituality. It could be sitting silently for hours and hours and going inwards. It could be like involving yourself in rigorous physical activity.
Yeah.
In spirituality, we call it sadhana, meditation. So you have to frame yourself in such a way so that you are ready, you are open. You are sitting with open arm. You get into that in terms of exploring life. So this is how I recommend young people. If you really want to get close to exploring why you are here, you have to involve yourself in multiple dimensions of your life.
Does that like help students to figure out what they want to do in their life?
So there is no shortcut. There is no like, okay, overnight you figure out, okay, this is what I'm here for. This is something evolving. Sometimes you're yet to meet your new you. So to meet that newer version of yourself, you have to continuously work on exploring multiple dimensions of your life. Yeah.
And helping others, mentoring others was a part of it for you.
Exactly. To go back to your question, you're asking me what really inspires you. That is something, exploring life, understanding why you are here. And always, young students, what I do with them is I connect them with their why. Even here in Australia, a lot of international students are here. Sometimes they are derailed. Sometimes they are distracted from their regular work. And I take time, I sit with them, and I remind them, you are here for a purpose. So I always remind them why you decided to come to Australia. And that anchor really helps people to get back to reality and really focus on something meaningful in life.
Yeah, fantastic. I totally agree with that. A lot of students who come here, they get, of course, derailed and demotivated. They lose their why they come to Australia, and then they just go about with their life like regular stuff and essentially goes nowhere, right? And
True.
They are very unhappy at the end. So yeah, that is super powerful. So you worked in construction sites. How did that transition into your current work?
What happened was those initial days, one of my friends, he took me there. I worked there for, I think, a week or 2 weeks. I forgot how many days. And after that, I shift my priority. At that time, my friends, my peers, they were focusing on earning more. They were concerned about extra shift, public holiday work, this, that. But my strategy was a little different. I was focusing how I can be career-centric while I was exploring a lot of opportunities. And that took me to other continents as well. I was in South Africa for a few weeks and I was actively involved in International Youth Leadership Conference. While I was doing my MBA, I think it was first semester. After a few months, I landed here. I took 2 weeks off from my study and then I went to South Africa to participate in that. And there I met young people around the globe. More than 100 people came together in one platform. And then we did rigorous simulation practices of different world organizations. Program was there. I was actively involved in that program. But outside of that program, I learned a lot. From meeting new people coming from different culture, different background. I remember always somebody said, if you really understand someone coming from different background, different time zone, different culture, if you understand their life journey, then it's equivalent to reading multiple books. So we all come from different background. We carry different story. And when I was there in South Africa, talking to people, meeting, educators around the globe, change makers coming from different parts of the world, when I tried to understand their life journey, it really helped me. It opened my eyes. And I started becoming very grateful of what I have. Journey continues. I went to Czech Republic, Prague. I still remember it was 2018, January. I was in Prague for 2 weeks, similar kind of events. There also I met people coming from different parts of the world. Right. And these international experiences really helped me to put together things and concentrate on my career during those days.
So you were basically very inspired right from the beginning in terms of going out, doing extracurricular activities, meeting with people, knowing about the world, and also at the same time, I'm guessing, trying to find your why build your purpose stronger every single day. How did that lead into education industry?
Wow, good question. Education was always within me, even before thinking about abroad study, before coming to Australia. I was actively involved in human transformation programs. So education, training, and human transformation was always in me. I came here with that background. I did my MBA. During my MBA, I was actively involved in networking, going international. collecting experiences. And combining all this together, my background, my MBA, and relationship, networking, all these things, I got opportunity to work for Pacific College. Initial days, I still remember, they supported me a lot to understand all the
If I can
things.
ask, how did you get that job? Just to be more detailed, if I could.
It was not advertised job.
Yeah.
It was somebody who knew me, closely observing my activities. He recommended the CEO of the company that this person is a perfect fit, and this job was not advertised. So somebody called me saying that I'm calling from this, come for the interview. And I went, I sat with CEO and director. We had the discussion for a pretty long time, and then I decided to start. On the same day, on the very same interview, coming out of that interview room, I was hired, and then I started working in the education industry.
Wow, that's a fantastic story. And that only happens when you are already prepared, when you are already in the zone. It only happens when you are connected with people because they know your values, what you are capable of. And that is the reason that person actually recommended you to the CEO. Yeah. So it's so important to build yourself.
True. And another interesting fact here is in Australia, I think more than 50%, I'm not too sure about these statistics, more than 50% of the jobs are unadvertised. They get filled on recommendation, networking. Even though they advertise, they rely on candidate who is referred by someone from organization or outside the organization. So here we can draw a recommendation to our listeners, to our international students making their living in Australia. So as you said, you need to be ready. If you are not sitting with open arm, you won't get anything. And another thing is you can't really pour from empty jar. So if you are not prepared, if you are not ready to grasp those opportunity, no one is coming to you and say, hey, I need you. You said the right thing. You need to be ready. You need to stay with open arm to grasp those opportunities in life.
That's fantastic. That happened 7 years ago.
Yes.
Right. And what is your job right now? What do you do?
My work spans multiple dimensions. I manage 2 campuses. We have 2 campus locations. I'm actively involved in managing campuses and people and team. And I'm also involved in creating environment where international students, they feel they belong and they can succeed and they can thrive. Also, I go overseas and I stand in front of potential students, parents, families, and our business partners, and I deliver true story. I talk about first-hand information. Why Australia? It's not only about standing in front of a brochure or telling them Australia is just a destination. It is more than a destination. And we go there and then we talk about value proposition. What Australia can make you if you are ready for the opportunity, if you are really passionate about building your life here in Australia, what it can be. So we go and tell them real success stories. I stand in front of them, I tell my own story. We bring our graduate story, and then we talk about Australians' value proposition in terms of international education, how we can help people coming from different parts of the world to grow here and to walk in the line of prosperity and whatever success they call it. So not only that, I'm also involved in other community activities, similar like this. We sit in conversation sometime, we do podcast, we talk to people, and whole purpose of doing all these things is to let people know it is possible. It is possible to do well in Australia, but you have to find right guidance. You need people who can hold your hand and show you the direction where to head. And this is how we help our international students in our campus, because we are I'm there 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. If I'm not overseas, I'm in front of students. Always I remind them about what is possible. I help them in career support. I talk to them in the classroom sometime. I go randomly and tell them how you're going with your job search, how you're going with your life, if you need any help. So this is how we help students in our workplace. And at the same time, I go global and promote why Australia.
That's fantastic. So how many countries do you go to and look out for a potential student?
Basically, I'm head of marketing for Pacific College. So we have students coming from more than 40 different countries. I haven't been everywhere, but most of those countries, we have to go and do some activities. We involve with local partners, but we handle diversified student squad. They come from more than 40 different countries.
That's great. And you were also saying that in few days you have a meeting planned in Philippines, right?
True.
That's the part of global recruitment of students, is it? Okay. So how does that work? Is the consultant over there, local consultant is partnered with you, and then they create that environment where you can go and talk to students?
It works both way. One is we deal with local partners, as you said. They are the local company. They understand the local market.
Yeah.
It's kind of global. We are a global organization, and they are local companies. We partner with them, and we go into global strategy.
Right.
And another thing is we are invited by schools and universities and colleges in those countries, and they want their students to know what they can do in Australia. And then we, from Australian institution, we go there. Again, I repeat the same thing. We carry the value proposition of Australia. We go them and we proudly present why Australia is the #1 destination in the world.
Fantastic. Your values regarding education, as you have said in the past, is that you care about trust, guidance, and impact. Can you please elaborate on that? Why would you say that?
I think you looked into my advocacy. This is how I, post in my social handles, and then this is how I always advocate. Education is about trust, guidance, and impact. When we go overseas, what happens is we deal with thousands of students. Sometimes we have to handle one big event, hundreds of students and parents are sitting in front of me. They put trust on me. There is innermost trust on me, on my guidance. And that circle of trust really makes me feel heavy. I don't take it lightly. Because trust they are putting on my guidance. And then when I talk to them and I tell them about the career decisions, how they can take informed decisions, how they can select the course, how they can figure out which career is best suitable for them, I deliver that with that heavy weight. So that's the guidance we provide them based on the trust that they place on us. And impact, we talk about how students, they come to us after they finish their qualification, they walk outside our door with confidence, skill in their hand. So this is how we create impact on a day-to-day basis. And those students' impact, they are heavily based on trust they put on us and guidance we provide to them.
That's such a powerful inspiration that you just shared. Yeah, when you go and share and propose Australia as a best destination, people and students and parents, they are fearful because it's a new country. They don't know anything about it, right? When you earn their trust and take charge to guide them in new country, that is definitely is going to have a big impact on those students and their families, right? However, when you go and talk to those families and students, what kind of fears do you see? What are the common questions?
It's a really good question. I really love diving deep into this. The reason is I do that every day. So when I go overseas, I talk to people, parents, potential students. The common fear they have is, am I enough? Can I fit into this country? Do I belong here? Is it possible for me to go and compete? Sometimes they have this fear of incompleteness, And also another common fear is they say, my English is not good. Is it going to hold me back because of my accent? And how I tell them is, if you have accent, that means you speak multiple languages. That's your strength. It's not your weakness. And we deal with those fear from potential students. And then we tell them, do not fear. And I ask them to look at me. I'm not a native English speaker. I do make mistakes while I talk in English. That's not my first language, but I do not fear. I'm not scared of talking. I'm not scared of making mistakes. I tell them a very organic fact. If you speak multiple language, you will have that accent, and it's your strength. I want them to reframe their understanding in mind. If you have accent, do not think it is your weakness. If you have accent, think it is your strength. Many people in this world, they do not speak more than one language. But those international students, trying their best, coming from different culture, background, different language, coming here, doing those IELTS, PT, whatever they asked to do, they are really doing good in English as well. But sometimes their mental map is stopping them from talking more. So this is how we try to help them with those fear. And talking about other fears, sometimes they have fear of loneliness because being away from your loved ones here in this country, it's not easy. They always ask us question, if my children going to be very lonely in this country, how they can get supported. That's the question we get. And another most common fear we observe is fear of making financial, when they are studying, they also making their ends, making their financial gain.
Yeah.
So we explain them, when you are here as an international student, do not think much about earning more because you are here with the support of your parents. Yeah. This is how Australian government has granted you visa, that you are financially sound. So once you graduate, they are giving you opportunity to work. 485 option is there. So during that 485 period, that's the time when you earn. But Australia offers part-time work opportunity. Of course, they can work here, but focusing more into work, sometimes they forget about their academic responsibility.
Absolutely.
So these are the common fears we get from them.
And I think Australia is being more generous as well for students, because in the past it only allowed 20 hours, but later on it increased 4 hours. It's with 24 now. So it's trying to be more accommodative to students, but that doesn't mean that students just going about making money and losing their career.
It's an opportunity for them to study and work, so they are very close to real world environment.
That's the purpose, actually.
Actually, that is the purpose they are giving this. It's not only about they want you to earn more. It's about letting you connect with the industry, connect with the work environment. So if you just study, if you are not working, then you are not fit for this world. Right?
Yeah, correct.
So you do not know the reality. So I want a student to take this way. So this international students work right. This is for you to get connected with the workplace, to understand how the workflow works. Because financially, a lot of international students, they declare that they are financially well off to support their study. They earn and they support themselves. That is also another point. But fundamentals of this work right is more towards letting them get connected to the industry.
That's great. Now, looking back in terms of being in this industry for 7 years, you have seen hundreds and thousands of students come and go, being successful in their career, right? So what do you think is the qualities that separates between a good student who have a good career and then the other one who are actually derailed along the way?
It's a really good question. We deal with hundreds of thousands of international students on an everyday basis. So good international students, they have growth mindset. So they take challenges sometimes as opportunity. They do not fear to speak up. So within our campus, we have some students, they always come and check with us. They always come and talk to us. They have that kind of growth mindset. So they don't hold themselves back because it's their right. Always we are having dedicated student service department just to help international students in case they have any issues. And some of the students, they do not go and use that service. So good international students, they take good use of that. They go, they talk to the in charge, and then they get those support and guidance, number one. And number two, I see successful international students, they are proactive. They are not reactive. When I say proactive, they do not fear to raise hand in the classroom. They speak to their teachers. They are always open to the opportunities. And they are very generous in terms of respecting the time. And they come and take appointment with us. And they sit with us and they ask very personal questions. And I have helped so many students even making their CV. And even printing them and giving them, okay, you go to 10, 20 places and you submit this resume. So this is how I have seen proactive international students. They come and use our service and then they get most out of it. Because we are there, we have a bit of experience in terms of guiding them. So if they know how to use services in-house, I think this is going to be really helpful for those students who are feeling less confident to come and talk. So successful international students, they always prioritize their well-being. I have seen this is a big problem in Australia. A lot of international students, they are not taking care of themselves. So successful international students, they take care of themselves and they always prioritize their well-being, their fooding habit, their daily life. They prioritize good relationship. When I say relationship, I mean networking. So good international students, they build their network. And somebody said it correctly, network is your net worth.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, that networking is going to help them even accelerate more into their journey. So in a nutshell, to summarize, successful international students, their growth mindset is different than those who are not. They are proactive instead of being reactive, and they concentrate on building relationship and networking, and they prioritize on their well-being.
Totally understandable, right? Having a growth mindset is so important, and using the service that you have is something a proactive student would definitely do, because they need help with their future, right? And if they really want to make something happen, if they really badly want it, they will come to you, right? For those students who are not confident, who are not able to come out of the shell or go and ask to someone, some people are in gray zone who wants to ask, but they just cannot. Right? Some people are there. Some people, they don't want to ask, so we can't help them. But those people who are like in the gray zone in terms of confidence building, they want to, but they don't know how to. Right? What is your suggestion to those students, those people?
Confidence is not a personality trait. It's a skill you build. So international students, if they are less confident, they need to first understand confidence is something which can be built with consistency, which can be built with your practice. I recommend them to start small. When I say start small, I mean they can turn around in their classroom and they can try to introduce themselves with someone new. Start small means it's not something like you handle hundreds of people, you go to the stage and hold the mic and talk. Confidence can start with you practice on day-to-day basis in terms of introducing yourselves to someone new in your classroom. Do not fear to raise hand and talk to your teacher. These are the
teacher, right?
Exactly. These are the small things they can do on day-to-day basis. And second, I would like to repeat again the same content we discussed before. They should change the narrative. The mental map they have. My accent is holding me back. My English is not good enough. People will judge me based on how I sound when I talk.
Have to change their programming.
Exactly. I want to challenge them. If you have accent, if you fear of being judged by someone based on your English, you are not alone. It is not your weakness. It is your strength that you speak multiple languages.
And one thing to add on that is actually the most successful people in this world are immigrant. Who didn't born in that same country, right? They traveled around. If we see top 50 billionaires or successful people, most of them are immigrants. So definitely, just to add on to that.
Exactly. To go back to the same point, students, they can reframe their mental map and really take that in a positive way if they are having that kind of. So some of the students, what they think is, when I talk, I may not sound clear, people may judge me. I truly tell them my story. With my students, if they come and tell me, okay, I'm not confident, I can't really go and talk, I tell them, I also make mistakes. We all human beings, we are here to learn from our mistake. So the best way to build confidence is, as we discussed, start small. Look in your classroom and try to talk to a stranger and change your mental map about what confidence is and try to look into the strength that you have. And another important thing I recommend them is get associated with some of the clubs that you have in your college. Maybe go out in the community. Even if it is inside your community, go and talk to people. When you have that kind of environment, sometimes that environment can shape people in terms of building confidence.
Yeah.
And last but not least, what I want to add here in terms of recommendation for building confidence is they need to focus on understanding their inner self, because we all are here with some purpose. So if they really understand well about who they are, their inner strength, their inner self, then what happens is when they talk, they know who they are. So they are not holding themselves back in terms of talking to new people. If they really understand their life well, they will be confident afterwards.
So does that mean that they need to invest time in knowing themselves and having some personal time, thinking about where they are and where they want to go?
True, exactly. You said it right. So they can start by, let's say, journaling. They can write down what they are feeling. They can start sitting silently. Maybe try to do some meditation. Close your eyes. Try to go inward. look into the light that you're carrying, because many people are missing that observation. So when you observe that light inside you, you are a different person. You have a different aura. So those people who are confidently talking, it's not only because they are expert in the field.
Yeah.
It's because they know their inner self very well. And when they handling the crowd, when they are talking in public, they do not fear about how people are going to judge. They are not shakeable.
They're not shakeable because they have very strong root. They know who they are.
True.
Right. They're strong.
That's the essence of building confidence. There are a lot of theories, there are a lot of people talking about how to build confidence, do this, do that. But fundamentals, I believe, is understand yourself better, and that automatically boosts your confidence.
One of the exercises which I love and which I do is basically just sit down and think about where you want to go.
True.
And then plan how you are going to get there. Just keep thinking about that.
True.
Think about where you want to go and just plan how do you get there. What is the first step that you need to take? Like I do practice that like this.
Amazing. This is a very solid point. Yeah. Visualization, we call it. And then when I used to be a trainer for year 12 students in terms of building their soft skills, I used to tell them, okay, close your eyes and then imagine you are handling crowd with thousands of people.
Right.
And you are talking in front of thousands of people with confidence, and people started visualizing that. And then when they visualize beforehand, facing actual scenario will be completely different. You said it right. This is a good takeaway for international students. If they really want to boost their confidence, visualize yourself in that frame. It automatically gives more power.
So basically, in order to do that, so have some time for yourself. That is so important in this country.
True.
You need like a creative space in your mind. If you are just juggling and just doing one work or one job after another, right? You don't have a space for creativity or do something great in life. So find that time. It's your responsibility, right? Let me go through a final thoughts now through our podcast and a few questions that I would love to ask. So looking back in your journey for the last 7 years, what kind of lessons have you learned and how do you feel about it?
Talking about the lesson I learned, the decision I made at the time when a lot of my friends and peers, they were focusing on making more money, working extra shift. That time I was concentrated on building my career, prioritizing networking, relationship, experience, traveling. So those sort of priority over earning money really helped me to get into this track and get into this industry early, right after the graduation. So observing my 7 years journey in Australia, that decision really helped me a lot.
Wow. So the decision that you made was instead of working another casual shift, making money, you prioritize in developing yourself. You focused in your career. You got connected with communities.
True.
And absolutely, I actually give you hats off regarding you going out of this country, attending those events when you are new in this country, right?
True.
So many people who can do that. And that's why you are here, I would say. Like you have that courage and a direction that you wanted to go and you didn't hold yourself back. Not everybody has a full of finances, right? But you manage it somehow.
I think that is the point we should talk here. It's not the same case for everyone. I was fortunate enough to get support from my family to prioritize on my career. But to those people who are going through this reality of having hard time, you are here as an international student, you are earning money to support yourself, your family and things. So what I recommend them is wherever you are, whatever you have, start small. It takes time and trust your journey because it's not going to be same for everyone. A lot of international students, they can't really think about going abroad and participating in those events while they're studying because of the pressure they have. And we understand that.
So
it's not about exactly doing the same thing.
Yeah.
What they can do is whatever they have in front of them, if they really start small and trust the journey, and then if they prioritize those things, because things will fall.
So look into your journey and make the best out of it and prioritize the right thing, of course, based on where you are. But that's very powerful because your journey is totally different from other people, right? You come from totally different background, totally different economic circumstances, right? And you need to know your journey and take right decisions and prioritize the right thing. Okay, perfect. That's really powerful. Now, if you have to like give 3 pieces of advice to students who wants to be where you are right now, right? What would that be in terms of principles or in any manner?
Really good question. My recommendation to international students, again, the same thing. Prioritize in building relationship. Go out and do networking. And if time favors, travel outside the country. Go to places where people are living different life because it opens your mind, it opens your eyes. Also, I tell them always they should prioritize well-being because if you can't take care of yourself, you can't give back to the community. So somebody said it in the right way. You can't pour from an empty jar. If you really want to come out and help community, help people, you should have something in you. So my final recommendation for them is take care of yourself very well so that you can give back.
I love it. Fantastic. One final question now I would like to ask you. If you could go back in time, like 7-8 years ago when you first came to Australia, with the knowledge that you have right now, right? Or wisdom, right? Would you do something differently?
So 7 years back, to my younger self, what I can recommend based on the experience and knowledge that I have now, I could prioritize a bit more into working on my health, working on my well-being. I did my best, but it could be more. And also, I was always in a rush when I was new to this country. I was rushing to find the best fit, whatever it could be. I recommend to that younger self, do not rush. It takes time. The process is long, and if you think you will get success overnight, that is a wrong concept. It's a long game, and it's a never-ending process. So if I go back to my time, if I need to start again, I'll start with priority on my health, on my well-being, and not rushing, and trusting my journey. And I would pat myself and say, you're doing good. And I would do more reflection on my journey. Because something people, they miss some time to go inward, sit silently and try to look for what's going on in your life and do journaling, write down what's happening in your life, do meditate, go and do some hiking, yoga, whatever it makes you happy. So those sort of things I would do in a little bit different way. Rest, I'm okay. I'm happy what my younger self did. And of course, there are room for improvement always. We could advise our younger self based on that.
Wonderful. So your recommendation basically is to look after your well-being. That is like the first priority. And also towards your health, of course. So when you come to a new country, you are juggled with so many things. You cannot prioritize that. And I love this actually. I can resonate this very well, not to rush. Because it takes time. You want that job, you want that PR so desperately, and you are just rushing, right? And it doesn't help, right? It takes its own course. It takes your work, right? And rushing doesn't get things right. Oftentimes it just backfires. So yeah, having a pleasant life would be a really good. Absolutely, I love that. So with that, Sagarji, we have come to the end of our podcast. Thank you very much for your valuable time and your experiences, your lessons that you have shared with thousands of people. I'm sure so many people who will be listening to this will be empowered and inspired to take the right decisions in their life. And I deeply appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Rudraji, for having me. It is a really good experience, and thank you for this opportunity to share. Now I'm having all the flashback, how all the journey started, and then what I do everyday basis. It's a kind of good observation for me as well, and I really request all the listeners to, again, prioritize on well-being. I would say, I'm always moved by this. Somebody said in the right way, talk to yourself once in a day, otherwise you may miss meeting an excellent person in this world. So always prioritize on going inward. That's my final recommendation. And again, thank you so much for having me here.
You're welcome. Pleasure is mine. Thank you. And to everyone watching, I believe this episode added a lot of values and insights in your life. If it did, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And I will see you in another episode of the Impact Diaries. Thank you, everybody. See you.